BMW's 4th generation F70 era 1 Series lineup is topped by this potent M135 xDrive hot hatch model. There's a sharper exterior look and a redesigned front of cabin experience, but otherwise things are much as with the previous F40 series version of this model, which means around 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and a more mature drive experience than old-school rear-driven 1 Series hot hatches served up.
Once upon a time, a BMW 1 Series hot hatch was a rather unique hot hatch confection, rear-driven with a howling straight 6 engine, a car for the hot hatch cognoscenti. The sort of model a racetrack instructor would use as his day-to-day drive. But then in 2019, with the introduction of the mainly front-driven F40 version of this car, everything changed. Out went rear-wheel drive, in came xDrive all-wheel drive, and a 4-cylinder 2-litre powerplant for what was then called the M135i xDrive. The replacement F70 era version of this car retains that mechanical setup, but loses the I from its name, that letter now used to designate BMW's EVs. More importantly, it gains a sharper look and redesigned screen tech. To take a closer look, you'll need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. As with the previous generation, M135i xDrive, this top variant has all-wheel drive, but its 2-litre 4-cylinder engine now offers fractionally less power, 6 horsepower less, than its predecessor, though the 300 horsepower output isn't much different. So the 4.9-second 0 to 62 mile/hour sprint time is only a tenth slower than the old model. Top speed remains electronically limited to 155 miles an hour. Oh, and when you select Sport, the added fake, iconic soundtrack is remarkably satisfying and sporty. It sounds rather less appealing if you turn off the synthesized speaker accompaniment. Like the previous F40 M135i model, this F70 car has launch control and a mechanical Torsen limited slip differential to get its grip to the gravel, which is much the same kind of approach that's on offer from obvious rivals like the Golf R and the Audi S3. There's not the same challenge in driving it that characterised the last decade's pre-2019 era F20 6-cylinder model, but then you might have expected that. This F70 M135 xDrive, like its F40 predecessor, differs from lesser 1 Series variants with its stiffer suspension setup, which in combination with the 10mm lower ride height does, in truth, make the ride somewhat over-firm for our country's terrible tarmac. That's despite the standard inclusion of M adaptive suspension, which doesn't help much and is only controllable via use of the different drive modes. In our view, you'd be unwise to make the ride even stiffer by paying extra for BMW's M Dynamic Pack, which gives you a more focused dynamic chassis setup that the brand says can unlock a new character for this fast hatch. In some ways, even in this standard form, it's already got a more focused character than it had before, courtesy of quite a few subtle engineering tweaks. At the front, the subframe features an extra couple of bracing bars for extra steering accuracy, and the electrically assisted rack features a quick ratio of 14:1. The standard 120 model is set at 15:1. Finally, the brake master cylinder is bigger than that of a more ordinary 1 Series for better response and more consistent pedal pressure. As you might expect, this top M135 xDrive variant has its own unique M performance look. There's an M radiator grille with horizontal bars, M exterior mirror caps, and 4 exhaust tailpipes to make this variant instantly recognisable as the top-of-the-range model. All F70 era 1 Series models feature big changes inside, where the cabin gains a single-piece curved infotainment display made up of a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster and a 10.7-inch centre screen, the latter running the brand's latest OS 9 software. This features quick select on-screen shortcut functions, which further reduce the dashboard button count. Other changes include redesigned seats, a new steering wheel and a leather-free interior. Customers can specify Econair upholstery made up of recycled PET. Avoid base spec and you get lovely illuminated aluminium hexacube interior trim. Does any small premium badged hatch feel smarter than this inside? We think not. As before, this M135's interior is set apart by M seat belts and M sports seats with these lovely inset M panels that illuminate at night. The tricolour M stitching on the passenger side of the dashboard is a classy touch too. And there's also a bespoke M steering wheel with a red 12 o'clock marker and large gear shift paddles. Through this wheel, you view the redesigned 10.25-inch instrument screen. You vary its layout via the content options you access using this little cogs controller on the right-hand steering wheel spoke. An M screen, journey data, an assisted view, a route planner, a map screen, a G meter and a media radio screen. The same cogs controller allows you to vary the layout of the redesigned head-up display. There are standard, assisted, sports and curve ahead view options. If you happen to own the old F40 model, you'll notice this new 10.7-inch central infotainment screen. Unfortunately, you can no longer access it via a convenient lower iDrive controller, but BMW's added quick select on-screen shortcut functions and improved the incorporated personal assistant voice control system. There are media, phone and nav options along this monitor's right-hand frame, and the home screen is divided into the usual customizable widget sections. Here we've got mapping, radio and destination input. The little apps icon along the bottom edge of the display connects you into rows of little icons, which, depending on the options boxes you've ticked, can include some of BMW's choiciest big car features like Wi-Fi, video, a drive recorder, Alexa functionality, and a whole range of Air console games. Plus, you can buy more features from the incorporated connected drive store. Cabin storage space provision is just about acceptable. There's a lidded compartment between the seats, a reasonable glove box and small door bins. You'll find USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket by the cup holders. There's a charging mat at the bottom of the centre stack, and there are ticket clips in the sun visors. As usual in this class, rear seat space is at a bit of a premium, but a couple of adults should fit okay on most journeys, and it's far better than the pre-2019 era rear-driven versions of this car. The disadvantage of these M135 front sports seats is that there are no seatback pockets, but BMW does provide an armrest with cup holders, big door bins, overhead reading lights, twin vents and twin USB-C ports. If you specified this large panoramic glass roof, there's a very airy cabin feel too. Out back, the powered tailgate rises to reveal boot capacity that, as with the old F40 model, is rated at 380 litres, which is the same as an Audi A3 Sportback, but 10 litres more than a Mercedes A-Class. There's no adjustable height boot floor, but there's a lot of space below the cargo base, though only because BMW refuses to fit any kind of spare wheel. It's a practical space with netting and a light to the right and bag hooks on either side. If you need more room, the backrest has a convenient 40-20-40 split, allowing you to push long items like skis forward in between two rear-seated folk. With everything flat, up to 1,200 litres of space is available. As we filmed, this top M135 xDrive was priced at around $43,000. This M135, as you'd expect, gets all the features you'd find on an ordinary M Sport 1 Series, plus a few more. There's an M rear spoiler, red M Sport brake calipers, sun protection glass, and a Harman Kardon surround sound audio system. Plus, drivers will be pleased to note the inclusion of M adaptive suspension and an M quad exhaust system. As for options, well, your dealer is going to want you to add the technology pack, which gets you adaptive LED headlights with a high beam assistant, comfort access keyless entry, an anti-dazzle rear view mirror and a wireless charging mat. The Technology Plus pack gives you all this, along with a head-up display, the upgraded BMW Live Cockpit professional cabin screen system, and a parking assistant plus setup that'll automatically park the car for you. The M135 can be had with an optional M dynamic pack, which gives you 19-inch M forged Y-spoke wheels, a dynamic chassis setup, M compound brakes with grey calipers, and M sports seats. On to safety. Now, as well as all the usual airbags, standard active guard camera features include the driving assistant package with front collision warning, lane departure warning, exit warning, and traffic sign recognition, as well as the brand's parking assistant with reversing assistant package. Most of the more sophisticated camera safety features, though, do cost extra. A few of them in the driving assistant plus pack, £700 more, but most of them in the driving assistant professional pack, £1,700 more. BMW isn't developing any more combustion engines, but it's doing its best to improve efficiency on the fossil-fueled units it already has. Even this top M135 xDrive manages up to 37.1 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 174 grams per kilometre of CO2, which is vastly better than what you get from a rival Audi S3 or Mercedes A35. On to the warranty package. BMW's warranty only lasts for 3 years, but it includes an emergency breakdown service and at least it isn't mileage limited, unlike the comparable package you get as standard with a rival Audi. You can of course extend the warranty with either monthly or annual payments. There's a 3-year paintwork warranty and the usual 12-year anti-corrosion warranty. What you think of the M135 xDrive depends largely on the expectations you approach it with. If what you want is something track-tamed, like a Honda Civic Type R or the old Hyundai i30N, then you'll probably find it a bit too repressed and buttoned up for its own good. But if, on the other hand, your shopping list in this segment includes all-wheel drive models like the Audi S3 or its similarly engineered cousins, the Volkswagen Golf R, or the top version of the Cupra Leon, all of which share a more powerful 333 PS 2-litre turbo engine, then you might well find this BMW an admirable alternative. True, compelling isn't the first word that springs to mind when considering the drive experience that this car serves up, but it's undeniably impressive. You, like us, might find the ride a little over firm, but traction out of damp corners, a thing you had to fight for in the old F20 era rear-driven model, is superb. Plus, the 4-cylinder petrol power plant is a willing thing and sounds good with its synthesised accompaniment. In summary, the M135 may not be a unique confection, but these days it's an undeniably more complete one.